The flashing red and blue lights lit up my entire street that chaotic night. I stepped onto my porch to see Elizabeth screaming into her phone. She was the HOA president and she was calling 911 on me. "He stole our cars, arrest this man right now," she shrieked at the dispatcher. I stood there, arms crossed, watching the tow truck finish loading her Mercedes. A small smile crept across my face despite the tension in my chest. Let me back up and tell you exactly how we reached this glorious moment. I moved into this quiet suburban neighborhood 6 months earlier looking for peace. The lawns were perfectly green, the houses looked like they belonged in a magazine. Everything seemed ideal until I received my first HOA welcome packet. Elizabeth ran the board like it was her personal kingdom. She was in her late 50s, always clutching a clipboard with a self-righteous glare. At first her complaints seemed manageable, if a bit ridiculous. She sent a certified letter about my trash bins visible for 20 extra minutes one morning. Then she nitpicked the exact shade of my front door wreath. I played nice and fixed everything without complaint. Deep down I sensed her addiction to tiny bits of control. The real trouble started during the annual neighborhood block party. I came home late from work, exhausted and ready to pull into my garage. Instead I found 4 cars completely blocking my driveway. Elizabeth's shiny black Mercedes sat right in front. 2 other board members had parked their oversized SUVs there too. I walked over to the party area and politely asked them to move their vehicles. Elizabeth looked at me like I had suggested something outrageous. "This is shared community space during events," she declared with that superior tone. I kept my voice steady and explained it was my private property. She waved her hand dismissively and turned back to her wine. The others followed her lead and ignored me completely. Frustration built inside me as I realized they were testing me. I called the local non-emergency police line for advice. The officers said it was a civil matter and towing was an option. That was the moment I decided enough was enough. I dialed the 24-hour towing company and explained the situation. They arrived surprisingly fast with bright lights and heavy chains. One by one the entitled vehicles were lifted and carted away. Elizabeth came storming down the street when she noticed what was happening. Her face twisted in pure rage as she dialed 911 right there on the sidewalk. That's when the police actually showed up to my driveway. The officers listened to her hysterical claims that I was a thief. Then they turned to me and reviewed the situation calmly. Turns out you cannot just park in someone's private driveway without permission. The cops informed Elizabeth and the others that the tows were perfectly legal. Her eyes bulged with disbelief and pure unfiltered anger. From that night forward the harassment escalated dramatically. Elizabeth began a campaign of daily violation notices stuffed in my mailbox. She invented complaints about imaginary noise violations at all hours. Rumors started circulating that I was an unfriendly troublemaker who hated the community. Neighbors who used to wave now avoided eye contact entirely. The tension in the air grew thicker with every passing week. I started documenting absolutely everything with videos and detailed notes. Every nasty email, every late-night complaint got saved and time-stamped. I spent evenings researching HOA regulations and state property laws. It became clear her actions crossed multiple legal boundaries. One particularly nasty voicemail she left revealed her true colors. She threatened to fine me into bankruptcy and force me to sell my house. Even better, she sent a group email to the board admitting they parked deliberately. She wrote they wanted to teach the new guy a lesson about respect. That single email became my golden ticket for justice. I printed every piece of evidence and organized it into a professional folder. The next HOA board meeting was scheduled for the following Tuesday evening. I walked in calmly with my binder under one arm and a determined look. Elizabeth spotted me and immediately tried to have security escort me out. The other board members looked uneasy but let me speak. I laid out the facts one by one without raising my voice once. I played the voicemail recording for everyone to hear clearly. Then I displayed the email where she confessed to the illegal parking. Gasps rippled through the small meeting room as the truth sank in. Elizabeth's face went from red to ghostly white in seconds. She sputtered excuses and called me a liar with a shaky voice. But the evidence was overwhelming and impossible to deny. I quoted the exact bylaw she herself had violated so blatantly. State law was also on my side regarding private property rights. The other board members shifted uncomfortably in their seats. A vote for leadership review was called right then and there. Elizabeth lost her position as president by a landslide margin. She stormed out of the meeting hall, slamming the door behind her. The new board issued a formal apology for the entire ordeal. They promised to enforce rules fairly without personal vendettas. My driveway has remained gloriously empty ever since that night. Neighbors slowly started nodding and waving at me again. The neighborhood feels peaceful and actually neighborly for the first time. Sometimes I still chuckle thinking about those towed luxury cars. Elizabeth's reign of petty terror ended because of her own arrogance. All it took was one driveway and a willingness to push back. Power-hungry Karens everywhere should take note. Little dictators always fall when someone finally toes the line.